And there it is, the gun's gone. Not a great start by Julian Absalon, but a really good start by Fontana. Fontana leading out, and it looks like on the far side there, the red and white colours. Well, Julian Absalon, not a great start, it has to be said, but it looks like Maxime Marotte has had a good start, along with, as I mentioned, yes, Manuel Fumik also getting a very good start. We can see a field of more than 140 riders, and they'll do this start loop of 1.1 kilometre, and then they have 7 laps of the 5.1 kilometre course to do. Great sight as the riders head out into the forest. Thousands of spectators here, as I mentioned in the women's commentary, and a really great day. 23 degrees the temperature, and it actually feels a little warm like that on the track. And we'll go now to a replay of the start. So it looks like a rider on the outside there on the left-hand side. There was a bit of balking there, but not too much of a problem. No one really fell down or any other issues. We want to see a clean start. They have a little rise there. You can see, yep, a couple of riders caught in a bit of a traffic jam, and that's always a pity at the back of a field of about 140 riders. There may be one or two that just run into the back of each other, and that will stall it. As we go back now to the start, this is where they come up this famous little dirt climb before the main arena, and it is plate number 1, Yaroslav Kulhavi, who's leading with, that's Julian Absalon right there with him. Maxime Marotte, plate number 6, having a good start, and it looks like Ralph Naff having a powerful start as well. So Ralph Naff having to move up from plate number 30 or so, and he's moving up well in the field. There's Liam Killeen going through in the British colours. Plate number 22 not having a great start. That's Martin Fenger from Switzerland. And as I've always mentioned to you, you can tell by the number plate as to how far they've moved up the field. All these guys outside the top 100 are trying to make their way up into the top 100 or so. And here they come underneath the giant screen that's hung above the track to finish the start loop. And as the start loop is going to come through in under 2:25, so 2:22 it looks like for the start loop. 2:22, and the first ride across the line is Kulhavi, followed by Absalon. Nino Schurter coming through in third. There are 3 main players to watch today. Marco Fontana does want to go with the break. I heard from his team manager that their instruction at the Cannondale team is to not let a break get away without them being in it. Maxime Marotte is sitting in 5th. Jose Hamida in 6th. Ralph Naff has moved from 38 up to 7, a great start. Manuel Fumik is sitting in 8th. Thomas Licher, a good start by the Swiss under-23 rider, is sitting in 9th. Florian Vogel in 10th place, moving up from 21. Gougen in 11th. Normally they shouldn't be taking anything on here because they'll start with what they need, but if they've lost a water bottle in the melee in the start loop or something like that, they can always pick up something here. Absalon's going to the lead. This is the man who's won here every time we've raced in Offenburg. 4 wins out of 4, and hoping to make it 5 out of 5 and to get back onto the top box for the first time in a year. Right behind him there we can see the colours. It looks like a Florian Vogel has moved up pretty strongly in the Swiss colours. And Derby Forest. Let's see what's happening now as we go down through the double track. Well, there's plenty of traffic, and look at the speed they're coming down through here compared to the women's race. Absolutely flying through here. And the lower side, which is our right-hand side, has been shown to be the faster track, but often riders have to go on the higher side if there's a lot of traffic. So we can see now a whole gaggle of riders, really no splits yet. There will be a lot of groups in the race. The track is very, very dry and fast. This is why the lap distance has been changed from 6 laps to 7 laps because of the speed that they're expecting today. We saw the women's race come in right at the lower end of the limit, at just around a 1 hour 30 mark. So they're expecting around about a 1 hour 40 to 42 today for the men. No, it's Absalon. So Absalon, Julian Absalon, leading the race down through the switchbacks. The Frenchman, who's won here 4 times, is now leading the race. He wants to take control. It's very, very clear, and he's already pulled out a gap now of about 15 bike lengths, heading up towards the Wolf Drop. This is the section of the course which is really, really popular with the spectators. They can see many different areas of the course, swapping from side to side, through the Wolf Drop, through the technical zone, through the feed zone, through Snake Pit. They all head out towards this part of the forest. There's Ralph Naff coming down through in the Merida colours. And we'll see if they come through the feed zone together. That's Absalon having a little look back now to see who's coming with him. Absalon goes through the feed zone. There's Kulhavi right behind him, and then you've got Marco Fontana. And then it looks like, couldn't quite pick up, probably Maxime Marotte there. There's Hamida going through in the rainbow colours, and Manuel Fumik right behind him. Next up, it looks like a bit of a move going on there by Christoph Sauser at the yellow number plate in the specialised colours. And that's Ralph Naff going through there now. So here we have Marco Fontana from Italy His best ever result for this Cannondale factory team was second last year, so they've not had a race win yet, and I know they're absolutely dying to have one, and today could well be their day if Marco Fontana can stay up there with that group. Manuel Fumic not far behind their second rider, and Martin Gouchin just a little bit further down the field, but they have a strong team and looking good today with Marco Fontana taking it to the other boys and saying, you're not going to ride away this week like you did in Dolby, we're right here with you. And there's teammate Martin Gouchin going through, Burry Stander going through. Man after my own heart, just bought an Audi RS5. That brings us up towards the start-finish arena, and it's Fontana and Absalon Kulhavi, no change there. And just behind Kulhavi I can see plate number 3. That's Nino Schurter in there with the red and white colours of the national champion. Maxime Marot in there as well. There's plate 11, that's Christophe Sauser. 17 in there with him as well as that's Ivan Alvarez from Spain. 14 with Manuel Fumic in there. 14 is Thomas Litcher. So Thomas Litcher and Manuel Fumic on the back of that particular group. Next up, Burry Stander. Then we have Martin Gouchin. And I couldn't pick up the last one, but I think it's the Dutch national champion. Yes, Rudy van Hoots riding for the Merida team. That's 21, Florian Vogel. 33, making a move on him, is Nicola Rohrbach from Switzerland. Plate 20, that's Iñaki Lejarreta going through. The two Flukiger brothers in there in the Trek red colours. And here we are, coming down to cross the line. We'll be able to pick up this group of, looks like, well, it's about 10 riders. First rider through, Julian Absalon with Kulhavi, Schurter, Fontana, Maxime Marot, Jose Hamida, Christophe Sauser, Thomas Litcher, and Ivan Alvarez from Spain, plate number 17, sitting in 9th place. So that's our lead group of 9, a little bit like the women's race we saw at the start with a group of 13. But this is a group of 9 with, we got that next group coming through led by Burry Stander, that's in 10th place. That would be Tony Longo. So back now to the leaders, and they're coming down through the double track section here with Fontana taking the faster lower section. And Ivan Alvarez from the Giant Italia team doing very, very well there, plate number 17. So we're going now to see a crash that was in the dual speed section. Looks like an over the handlebars, or we just picked this up. Yes. Can't pick up the number, but a heavy fall there for that rider as others have to then change line and get around him. Not looking very good there at all, pulling off to the side of the track. So we're picking up our leaders now in the switchback, and we'll pick up for you who exactly is leading the race right now. It looks like Marco Fontana has gone back to the lead. Marco Fontana it is that's leading the race. Fontana sitting with plate number 4, but at the front of the race, and there we can see Kulhavi sitting in 4th, Hamida in 5th. But now we're going to pick them up through the feed zone. Here they are, second time through the feed zone number 2. Marco Fontana, plate number 4, looking comfortable there in the lead. There's Kulhavi now sitting back in 6th. Look like Christophe Sauser sitting second wheel. That's Litcher going through there, the Swiss rider. No, another lead change. Well, it looks like it's the colours of Nino Schurter. I think confusing me a little bit because of the Swiss colours. No, there he is in 3rd wheel, so try and pick up for you the number plates that come through. This time Nino Schurter riding in the red and white of the Swiss national champion. Well, it is indeed. It's Nino Schurter that's leading the race right now. Christophe Sauser sitting 3rd wheel, and Litcher right there as well. So that is the lead group, and what a... So here they come. This is our lead group of 8 riders heading up towards the dirt climb with Julian Absalon now in the front. So Absalon taking the lead as they head up towards the climb with Schurter plate number 3 sitting in behind. Christophe Sauser plate number 11. Plate 6 in there, Maxime Marot. 7 is Jose Hamida. 4 is Marco Fontana. And you see now 14 there is Thomas Litcher, the rider who did so well in the sprint eliminator. And then we see Burry Stander has got up into this group. So plate number 8 is Burry Stander. Well, here they are. This is the end of lap number 2 as we get up to just under 32 minutes on the clock. So the first rider across the line on this occasion is Maxime Marot taking the lead. Well, we've seen a number of lead changes in these first 2 laps between this group. And as I mentioned, Barry Stander has joined this group, so it is 9 people. Well, it looks like they're leaving it to Julian Absalon to lead up through the asphalt. Kulhavi trying to make a move on the outside, on our right-hand side. He's the big rider, you can see. About the only other rider his size in the field is his teammate Todd Wells, 186 centimetres, the two of them. Todd Wells a little heavier at 80 kilo and Kulhavi at 75 kilo. So Kulhavi on the full suspension 29er. Now they're all looking for water bottles. You can see it is a hot day today. They need the hydration. 3 specialised riders in there right now. And this is the next bigger group. We do have a couple of riders on their own, Ivan Alvarez and Rudy Van Hoots between this, and this is the group that includes Florian Vogel, Todd Wells in there as well. I think that would be Martin Goujan as Martin Manuel Fimig. Number 20 in there is Lejareta. Back now with our leaders to the dual speed, and we can see that it's Barry Stander that's gone to the front now. And you can see that a slightly different jersey. He's got the national champions jersey of South Africa on, mixed in with his specialised colours. Yes, it is. It's Barry Stander who's leading the race. He's on a 2.9. He's riding his hardtail stump chopper and looking very comfortable indeed. Sitting the front with Schurter third, Absalon fourth. Maxime Marot going through there, Jose Hermida as well, and Thomas Licher sitting on the back of that group with the orange sleeves. Fontana and Nino Schurter. So it's definitely not like a race in Dolby where we saw one man get away and stretch his lead. In fact, Kulhavi's now sitting in the 6th position by the look of it, with Hermida right behind him in 7th. 8th there we see Souza, and 9th Licher. So Christoph Souza losing a little bit of distance there to the front group, and I wonder if Licher's going to try and make that gap, or is he going to just sit on Souza's wheel. Looks like he stays there for the single track into the forest. Barry Stander leading the race, plate number 8, Marco Fontana, Nino Schurter. That looks like Christoph Souza moving up to 4th, Julian Absalon, Jaroslav Kulhavi, Maxime Marot, Jose Hermida, and then Thomas Licher. That's your order as they come through. Thomas Licher doing an inverted cat press there to try and stretch his back. And it's still plate number 8 there. You can see with the skid suit unzipped is Barry Stander trying to cool down as much as possible on this warm day. Nino Schurter 2nd, Marco Fontana 3rd, Absalon 4th. Then you see Souza, Maxime Marot, Kulhavi sitting in there comfortable. 3 down with 47 minutes, and we're looking for a race time probably of around about 1 hour 42. But there's our same group of 9 going through. Still Licher sitting on the back. Plenty of riders in that 3rd group that are quite strong, but this is our front group. Well, Kulhavi kicking up a back wheel there on the lower side of the dual speed, but everyone through safely. Well, it looks like it's the Julian Absalon. It is the red, white and blue colours. He led here before. He seems like he's very comfortable to lead into this section. So Julian Absalon, the 4-time winner of Offenburg, still very much in contention for a win here today. He's managed to get a bit of a gap out, interestingly, since we saw them last. So Julian Absalon, maybe this is his plan of attack at half race distance. He definitely has quite a gap now. It looks like about 30 or 40 metres. Julian Absalon in that characteristic out of the seat attack. Oh, this is impressive. But it's, yeah, the other riders have responded though. It looks like Nino Schurter leading the response. And it is Julian Absalon. Haven't we seen this before in Offenburg? The sight of Julian Absalon getting away and looking over his shoulder to see where the next rider is. Is this the decisive break? This is what the other riders will be starting to think. And there we see Kulhavi now responding. Kulhavi going around Nino Schurter, then Marco Fontana, Christoph Souza and Maxime Marot. So it looks like Kulhavi saying this isn't going to be playing out that way. Well, it looks like Souza losing his footing and his pedal there, and Barry Stander getting spat out the back of that group. Smilat's has got, no, this is Hermida now coming in for his puncture change. So it was Hermida, and he's not lost that much ground as he gets the wheel changed. Jose Hermida, if he can get back in with this group, changing the front tyre now. Well, this is always a stressful team for the mechanics. They hate having to deal with this. The rider can't do anything. You've got to just stand back, take on some water, and just trust his staff to get the job done as he's watching other riders go by. It's very, very stressful indeed, but not much he can do about it as the next group goes by. He wants to get onto the back of one of these groups. There he goes. Jose Hermida, the world champion from 2010, heads back out into the race having a front wheel change. I don't think he really lost that much ground considering where he had that puncture. He's done well to ride it back round there. And here he is. This is Julian Absalon, race leader, plate number 2, trying to chase down the World Series lead. World Cup Series lead, and right behind him is the leader of the series. So there's 50 points difference between first and second, and that's what he's trying to defend is Jaroslav Kulhavy, because there is only 10 points difference between the two of them. The 25th, but back now, here's our leader. This is Julian Absalon working his way up through the dirt climb. Crowd absolutely cheering him on. What an impressive record he's had here at this venue. 4 wins in 4 years. Can he make it 5 and be the only man ever to win here? Jaroslav Kulhavy will have something to say about that. He's the winner from Dalby Forest. He also won last year in Wyndham, and he's wanting to get his 3rd World Cup win, as well as protect that white jersey he's wearing right now, the World Cup leader's jersey. And there's our leader crossing the finish line, ending lap number 4, and heading out with 3 laps to go. So we're well over halfway race distance now. So it's Absalon with 7 seconds lead over Kulhavy. Only 7 seconds now. It'll be interesting to see what happens if Kulhavy catches up to Absalon, whether these two ride together or Absalon chooses to ride straight past him. 7 seconds the difference. Only Kulhavy was the one to respond to Absalon's attack. Now Maxime Marot goes through, leading Fontana, Schurter, Stander and Souza, and they're all about 20 odd seconds behind Jaroslav Kulhavy. Taking a gel there from his mechanic is Julian Absalon. Well, that gap's gone out just a touch, but not much. Maybe, yes, it's 10 seconds. We just saw the mechanic holding up 10 fingers. So it's gone from 7 seconds out to 10. And here's this chase group. Now they're going to get a lot of information when they come through the feed zone about how far they've got between them and the leaders. Christoph Sauser's at the front now, and he's having a look down the road because he knows he can look down the feed zone and see where those guys are. Having a good look across the grass fields there, and that's Christoph Sauser leading Nino Schurter, fellow Swiss rider, Marco Fontana from Italy, Maxime Marot from France, and on the back the South African Barry Stander. Julian Absalon working his way down through the switchbacks. Well, he's going through there now, 1 with 27 seconds on the clock, and there is Kulhavy. So he's managed to respond to this very strongly indeed, it has to be said. Kulhavy has not been able to bring back this gap. It was 10 seconds through the last feed zone. It's now already out to 15 seconds. And by the time we see him come through, yeah, it's more than 20 seconds now between first and second. It's 22 seconds now the gap. 22 seconds now the gap between first and second. And we see the chase riders about similar sort of distance now back to them. So it could be a difficult day for Jaroslav Kulhavy to be between this chase group and the leader. If he continues to lose time on Julian Absalon, he's in danger of being caught up by this group. And that will spell the end of the leader jersey for Jaroslav Kulhavy and put Julian Absalon back into the leader jersey, something we haven't seen for a very long time. Julian Absalon, rider number 2, let's see, came through there with 11 seconds on the clock, and when the camera spins round after he leaves the section, we'll be able to look at the clock and see if that's managed to go out. If it clocks up to 26 before Kulhavy comes down through the snake pit, we'll know that he's managed to extend the lead even more. Well, there we are, 15 seconds already gone. Sorry, 22 seconds was the last gap, so yeah, there we go, 22 seconds now passed. So the gap has now extended between our race leader and second place. The World Cup Series leader, Jaroslav Kulhavy, has lost another few seconds to Julian Absalon in that particular section. And see the soigneur from the Scott team in the emergency feed there, so maybe one of his riders missed a feed. That could only be Nino Schurter or Florian Vogel. So we'll wait and see if there's an issue there for those riders as they come through. It's a very fast feed zone. You see Barry Stander sitting in third, and Maxime Marot. What a great ride he's had today, and as well in Dalby Forest, Maxime Marot. The soigneur was looking out for him, but he didn't ask for anything, as we can see the dust being kicked up by the rear wheel of an attacking Julian Absalon. He knows he's making time on second place, and he knows he's got to continue to do that. Can he maintain this speed? Julian Absalon is perfect at timing his attacks, and he will know his body better than anyone as to whether or not he can maintain this pace and for how long. I can see the Orbea team manager yelling encouragement from the side of the track. Spoke to him before the start of the race, and he was a little bit nervous about the pressure of winning 5 out of 5 and the fact that his lead man hasn't yet won a race in the last 12 months. So this is a key moment for this team, as we see Jaroslav Kulhavy out of the seat, but starting to look a little bit less in control as we've normally seen him come up here. He's looking a little bit more tired, and he's got to start to think. He's got to start to think what is going to happen if this chase group gets hold of him. Well, we have a puncture in the tech zone, and it is a specialised rider. Can't pick up it. Yes, this is Christoph Sauser. So Christoph Sauser having a rear puncture. He's not had a lot of luck today mechanically. That's Benno, his mechanic, working there feverishly to get that 29 wheel. Getting the 29 wheel into that bike, and we're back now to the chase group with Maxime Marot leading Barry Stander, the teammate of Christoph Sauser, sitting in a 3rd and 4th right now. So they've managed to drop, it looks like they've dropped Sauser and Schurter. Of course they've dropped Sauser with the puncture, but Schurter wasn't looking so great the last time we saw him through, and he did suffer a bit in Dolby Forest, and here we see him now, plate number 3, sitting in 5th place. And he's got Marco Fontana behind him in 6th. So Fontana knows that there's a podium just ahead. But here we go. This is our race leader going out with 2 laps to go, finishing lap 5 in 1 hour, 16 minutes and 8 seconds. Julian Absalon. And here we see 2nd place, Kulhavy coming through. The lead has gone out now to 32 seconds. So every time we take a clock to him, he loses 3 or 4 seconds. And that's a loss of 25 seconds in just 1 lap. Well, that chase group is a lot closer than he would like. They're just 20 seconds, 21 seconds behind, so the gap between 2nd and 3rd is smaller than it is between 1st and 2nd, and that's Maxime Marot and Barry Stander, and it looks like it's Marot on the front right now doing the work. Here and supporting, they call the Red Army, and they follow him throughout Europe wherever he goes, and here he is coming down the descent looking absolutely in control. He really is a master of bike riding, and this is well and truly on the way to perhaps his 23rd World Cup victory, making him, well, he's already been the most winningest World Cup rider of all time, but he'll extend that record by another race today. Of course, he was 2-time under-23 world champion in 2001, 2002, and he was the junior world champion, as I mentioned before, in Mont-Saint-Anne 1998. There's Maxime Marot now. Maxime Marot, now has he made that move on Kulhavy? We'll double check, pull out wide, see if, yes, it looks like he has, well no, that looked like Barry Stander, so maybe they're all in there together in the forest. We'll see who comes out. I don't think we missed Kulhavy. He may well slip through underneath us, so Kulhavy may have gone through and we didn't see it, and there's Maxime Marot, but we'll stay with this now. See, that's Barry Stander going through as well, so that was Maxime Marot, Barry Stander. Unless Kulhavy is absolutely exploded and is behind these two, I think it's safe to say that he did slip through underneath the camera shot earlier. So out of the seat and attacking. Well, he's looking even more energetic this time is Julian Absalon. He can really sense the victory, something he's been wanting. And this is well and truly within his grasp now. The current leader with 1 lap, we're coming up to get 1 lap to go. He'll be getting the bell. And this is a man possessed, absolute aggressive riding, really attacking this climb. That is a special ride here by Julian Absalon today. He's really showing his mastery of the Offenburg course. As we can see, yes, Kulhavy is still within touch. Well, that gap hasn't gone out too much, but it's just not quite bridgeable for the Czech rider. I wonder if we can see 3rd place coming through on the lower part of this hill. Just as he gets towards the top, we'll be able to get an idea of whether or not he's managed to pull out a bit of a gap since we saw it last time. Well, so far he's looking pretty solid there in 2nd place. I didn't see anyone coming in on the bottom of the screen. The style of these two riders working their way up and just seeing how far they're leading the bike over, how much of the full length of their legs they're using the pedal stroke, and really both of them looking quite fresh there as Julian Absalon goes through to finish lap 6 and he gets the bell. 1 lap to go for Julian Absalon, the multiple world champion, the multiple Olympic medalist, and here he is out with 1 lap to go for possibly his first victory in World Cup racing in 12 months. We've seen Nino Schurter come along, we've heard about the changing of the guard, but the master is back at the front of the field where he feels the most comfortable, and he's giving them a lesson or two today and give them a lot to think about for the next 4 weeks before heading to Mont-Saint-Anne. As I mentioned, a track he also loves. There we see Kulhavi go through now. The time is exactly the same as it was last time round. 32 seconds. No change whatsoever between first and second place. But look at the gap now back to Maxime Marat. This has got a lot closer. I think last time we saw a 21-second gap, and that means we're now, well, it's 19 seconds. So he's managed to pull up a couple of seconds. And Barry Stander coming through now in fourth. Julian Absalon out of the seat, willing to spend some energy now because he knows this is the last lap and he just has to get through and maintain this gap of 32 seconds. He'll know that it hasn't changed, but it's still a handy margin to have, but you can't afford to have any sort of mechanical problem, drop the chain or do anything when it's only a 30-second margin. So he has to keep it tidy. Look at him gritting the teeth there, absolutely using all of his energy, grabbing the gel. As we saw him last time, he'll take the gel and then a little bit further along he's going to take, just took one squirt out of that and then he grab a water bottle and move on. Kulhavi out of the seat. There will be a 40-point difference if the places stay the way they are now in the series lead, which is nothing when there's 250 for a win. But psychologically, to lose the jersey before a 1-month break, well, it just gives you a lot more to think about. Yeah. So that's for the next 2 weeks of free cast, and then there's a 2-week break, and then we're back on air for the triples in Mont Saint Anne and Wyndham as we watch Julian Absalon wending his way down for the very last time into the lower section here through the switchbacks. 1 hour and 38 elapsed. About to make history in several ways. It will be 5 wins out of 5 on a circuit. I don't know if that ever to happen, where the first 5 years on a venue it's been the same winner each year. He will be taking his 23rd World Cup victory, and it will be his first World Cup win in a year. So a lot of headlines for the team, and they've been waiting long and hard for this one. Yaroslav Kulhavi there, an impressive ride. Impressive ride by the Czech rider, sitting there now in second place where he's been for most of the time since Absalon's attack, and he went through the second feed zone and said, well, if you guys aren't going to chase him, I am. And Kulhavi now sitting there in second where he's been for most of the race. Maxime Marat, another impressive ride today. Fourth in Dolby, now sitting in third place today. And as I mentioned before, Yaroslav Kulhavi, the first man ever to win a World Cup on a 29er bike, but today it's going to be the 26er back on the top step for Julian Absalon as he comes through the second feed zone for the very last time, heads up towards the left-hand switchback into the forest. Kulhavi going through, and this will be interesting to see where our 5th place to 9th place riders are, or 5th to 12th it is actually now, as we see them come through to see who is leading that big gaggle of riders after 4th place. Maxime Marat getting cheered on by his team. Kulhavi is not that far ahead. He's going to give it his all to try and get a second place. Either way, this will be his best race result ever. He's pulled a gap on Barry Stander. We don't see him yet. Well, here he is now entering the feed zone. So this is 4th place Barry Stander for Specialized going through plate number 8. But right now we're going with our leader. This is Julian Absalon working his way up the dirt climb for the very, very last time. Many of the spectators now in the background walking to get around to the finish area. It's not long now to the finish, as we see 1:45 about to come up on the clock. Getting last words of encouragement there from his team manager. Big smile on the face. They can see that they've got a win, and it's been a while for the Orbea team. Exactly a year, well, exactly since the last Offenburg race, and we can see now Yaroslav Kulhavi working his way up. To his credit, he has not lost a lot of time to Julian Absalon. He's managed to maintain that distance, but just not been able to bridge it. But a great ride indeed by the Czech rider. But he will relinquish the leader's jersey, but something tells me that may not be the last time we see him in that jersey this season. There's going to be some chopping and changing amongst the top riders, and it's very, very close indeed, not only in the racing but in the overall points, as we see Maxime Marat, a great ride by this fellow. And we'll see their leader. There he is, Julian Absalon, coming around to make history with his 23rd World Cup victory in his career, and also his first win since Offenburg last year, and he will take the leader's jersey for the World Cup Series overall. Julian Absalon, the master of Offenburg, wins 5 out of 5 starts, and there's his wife and child waiting for him at the finish, and I can tell you that is a very, very happy man. He's been waiting a while to be back on the top step, and he loves this venue. It has to be said, what an impressive record. 5 wins out of 5 Offenburgs. The others will have to be wondering what they've got to do to beat this man on this track. Well, here's the one that took it to him as best he could. Jaroslav Kulhavy loses the leader's jersey today, but hangs on to second place in the overall. He'll pick up 200 valuable points. A wry smile there. He just shakes his head and says, man, you did it today. You absolutely had the legs, and full credit to you. And third place, Maxime Marot, well, just 12 seconds down. He really did bring that gap back, and he's an ecstatic rider. That's his career best. After a 4th in Dolby last week, he moves up to get a 3rd place. He's congratulated by his countrymen. They are 1 and 2 in France, and here they are 1 and 3 at the World Cup in Offenburg. 4th place coming in now, a great ride by a man who, by his own admission, was feeling a bit sick today. Barry Standard takes 4th place, the South African. A commendable ride, and he'll be quick to congratulate his teammate for getting 2nd. So 2 and 4 for Specialized there. Barry Stander looking back to see what the gap is to 5th. Well, it will be a sprint finish, I would think, between the riders that we saw just a little while ago. 5 riders or more, 6 riders battling it out. So that'll be an exciting image to see shortly as they come under the start finish. We'll be waiting to see who is going to take 5th place. Will it be? No, it's not. It looks like it's one of the Wild Wolf Trek riders. It could be Carlos Coloma. It is. It's Carlos Coloma takes a podium, the Spanish rider. Well, he'll be absolutely ecstatic with that. He thought his career was at an end last year, and he's managed to pull it all together and get a fantastic podium. Carlos Coloma, the 5th place rider today at 2:30, takes it out to Fabian Giga in 6th, Schurter in 7th, Fontana in 8th, and Thomas Licher finishes in 9th place at 2:45. Well, what an amazing finish by Coloma, because he was in the 3rd chase group, brought it up to the 2nd group, and now he finds himself on the podium.
Okay, Julian, congratulations. You did it the 5th time in a row. How do you feel right now?
Really good. I'm really happy. It was my big goal of the beginning of the season. I did a really good race. I was in good shape with good legs, and it was a perfect day for me. I did not mistakes during the race. I tried first to attack in the first lap, but I saw 6 guys in my wheel. So I say, okay, maybe I need to wait a little bit. I wait 2 laps in the wheels, and I saw Kulhavy very strong, and I decided to attack at the beginning of the long climb in the 3rd lap, and I did a good attack. And after I took 15 seconds on Kulhavy, and after it was a big fight. It was like that last week, but me in front and Jaroslav in 2nd place.
Now you are back in the leader's jersey. What does it mean to you?
It's nice. The more important for me was to win here, because it's best World Cup, I think, with lots of spectators, lots of media. So that's why it was my goal. But the overall of the World Cup is not my goal, because I will not compete in Canada and United States. So because I'm focused on the World Championship in Chambéry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Absalon, the winner! And now, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our champion, we play the national anthem of France. and gentlemen, together for champions today! With the winner, Julian Absalon! Carlos Caroma, Paris Stender, Maxime Marot,